I told you that competition was a good thing. Too much competition can be bad in internet marketing, so you want to avoid the oversaturated markets. Now this means that some markets are literally overflowing with competition. If you look at stock trading websites, you'll find that there are tons of stock trading websites. Now, can you still make money in the stock trading website arena? Sure. Jeff Walker, he's a well-known marketer that makes money in the stock market niche, and he does really well doing that. And if you're a good marketer and you know what you're doing and you have a unique angle for that, you can definitely get into producing the stock trading courses. Another one that's really, I think, oversaturated is like health and fitness, diet products. There's tens of thousands of diet products out there, and a lot of diets are fad type related, so that's another reason why I would avoid diets. But I'm not a diet expert, so if I was, I might want to enter that market. If I had something that was really top notch, better than anything else that was out there, I'd want to enter an overflowing market because there's lots of opportunities to have all those other people promote you. But you also run the risk if it's totally overflowing and there's like thousands of websites, it's really hard. You're competing with everyone else for the traffic, and at that point it does become competitive. You really do have to stand out from the crowd, and if the crowd's really huge, it's hard to be original. It's hard to have a USP that's better than everyone else's because there's so many other people doing it. And this is also up to you. You can look at the market and see if it's totally oversaturated or if there's still good opportunity. So it also depends on your opinion of it. You need to form your own opinion. I can't tell it for you. I know of markets that I think are too oversaturated for me. I don't want to spend the extra time, probably because I'm lazy. I don't want to go into a market that's totally overflowing because I'm lazy. I want to take a market that's easy to dominate because there's enough competitors where I can do some good deals so I can take over the market, but I know that I'm better marketing than people in that market, so I can just totally dominate it. So you have to weigh all the risks to rewards and the consequences of spending your time on this. But an oversaturated market can be a bad thing, so don't just think that competition is totally the best thing. Competition's excellent. It's really hard to enter a market if there's no one else doing it, unless you have a really good idea and something that's totally original that's just going to be a huge hit. I think you take a little bit of a gamble to see if it's going to be a hit, but I generally like to enter a market that has a good amount of competition but doesn't have tens of thousands of websites competing against me. You have to be a little extra clever to do well in these markets. So what's the solution? If the niche has hundreds or thousands of information product websites, so you do separate the websites mentally from, you don't think about the portal websites. You think about the websites selling ebooks, audios, videos, traditional books, home study courses, seminars, personal mentorship programs, any type of website that's selling information on the niche that you want to be in. You have to break them down. And you want to narrow your market to a sub-niche of that market that isn't completely oversaturated. So if you were looking at diets and you looked at low-carb diets, I would say that's probably oversaturated. There's probably tons of stuff there. That's become mainstream. Anyone can go to the bookstore and buy like a $5 book on a low-carb diet, and it's going to be harder for you to develop a course that sells for $200 that has any different information than the stuff they can go buy for $5 or $10 at the regular, any store they go to by now, because it's a mainstream thing. Stock trading is still an area where that information sells for a premium, so you could develop a stock trading course that's better than any of the books in the bookstore that sells information at a higher premium. But if you can find a niche within a niche and target a certain type of diet that's a new diet, that's kind of a growing diet that's becoming successful, and you can dominate that little area, then you have a chance to make it easier, because now you can stand out from just those few people in that little sub-niche. So if the market looks oversaturated, try to narrow it down to a smaller niche, to a more precise targeted area. Because if there's tens of thousands of websites that you're competing with, then you probably selected a niche that's too broad. Now you could always go into a tiny little targeted area and you could always expand your empire, widen the shotgun splatter, and you could eventually dominate that whole big market just by starting out as that little thing. Martha Stewart, she kind of created part of her own market, but she also got into markets that other people were doing, and she started with a book, and she just was able to grow into a complete empire where now she's like the biggest person in that niche. So it can be done, and you can do it. So if it seems to be too big, don't worry, just make it narrow, and it's easier to target it. So then you have a focused group of people that you're looking for so you can profit from. So an oversaturated market isn't a totally bad thing. There's still opportunities there, but I would suggest tone it down a bit. Just kind of narrow your range before you're going to widen it later. Because if you're too broad, it's harder to market to that broad of an audience if there's that much competition.